Hi, John. Welcome to Funnel Vision Podcast. So happy to have you on today and looking forward to hearing your expertise and tips and tricks about sales to share with our community of sales professionals.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And hopefully, I have a few nuggets of gold here for you.
I'm sure that you do. So starting out with our first question, what's your one, go-to changing tactic that you rely on to build strong client relationships?
So, I mean, the game changer for building kick ass relationships for me is there are no silver bullets, just the daily grind. Everyone's out there chasing the next magic phrase or the clever close. Here's the truth there are no shortcuts. Relationships are built brick by brick, the hard way, through showing up, through following up, and through doing what you said you're going to do. It's not sexy, but it's how the pros win. The fortune's in the follow up. Most reps vanish after one no. That's when I lean in. Do you think a CFO makes a six-figure buying decision on a cold call? Hell no. You stay top of mind. You be relentless and relevant. You follow up until you get a yes, a restraining order, or a signed contract. I like to use the Detroit hustle rule. Give before you take. Your first interaction should be a pitch. It should be a damn light bulb. Drop a nugget of insight, makes them go, whoa, that's one new one for me. Lead with value. Then and only then, in my opinion, do you earn the right to ask for anything. Those are my three nuggets for building a client relationship.
Yeah, I love that so much, and it is again, it's the basics, right? Like you cannot get rid of, the basic things like, spending that time forming that relationship, listening to your client and understanding their needs, and then you're right, leading with value, and becoming like a true, advisor and expert in your field, and that's the best thing that you can do. And yeah, don't pitch on the first call. Like all the things you said are, it's sales 101, but so many people get away from that, as you get through your career and you try to skip steps or do things to, to speed that up. And really, like, those are the most important core things.
It isn't easy and it isn't sexy. People want a silver bullet there, but there isn't one. You just got to do the hard work. And if you do the hard work, the hard work, I like to say the hard work done in the dark shows success as in the light. So yeah, that's just the way it is.
For sure. What's the best piece of sales advice you've received, and how did you incorporate that into your approach?
So the way I like to think about it is the best sales advice I ever got that punched me right in the face and made me better. And it's pretty easy for me. Shut up and listen. The advice is easy, but doing it, let's be honest, isn't easy for any sales guy. I had an old sales mentor once stop me mid pitch, looked me dead in the eye. I'll never forget it. And he said, "Are you done yet?" It hit me like a brick. I was too busy showing how smart I was instead of listening to what the client actually needed. Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth. Listen. Let the silence do the work. It's not easy. Silence is hard, and it's hard for everybody. But they'll tell you where the pain is. They'll tell you how to win. They'll tell you how to court them. And the last thing is, it's not about you. You're not the hero in the story. Your client is. You're the guide, the fixer, the closer. When you start every call thinking, how can I make them look like a genius? That's when you can become indispensable. Sales isn't ego, it's service.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with all of that. It is just, it's so important. Exactly, just everything that you've said. It makes so much sense, and it's important exactly to, you're not the hero. It's not about you. It's about them. And going back to listening is the only way that you're going to know, what they need is to be able to listen and get that information. And they will give it all to you, but you've got to have that up. You have to take that, time and turn off and listen. And it is very hard. And salespeople love to talk. And so it's one of the hardest things for sure for people to kind of switch that.
Silence is a difficult thing, and I like to practice from time to time, and just, if you will, be quiet, because my natural tendency is to talk, and being quiet isn't normal, isn't natural for me, and it's like a muscle. It needs to be practiced.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that, and I think that I myself can use that advice and practice that as well.
Me too.
Um, so what's your take on AI in the sales world? Like, how do you see it changing the game and the future of sales, and how do you think it's best used?
Elena, we could probably do an entire podcast on this topic. I've got lots of ideas and lots of opinions, but AI to me is like, play smarter or get replaced. It's a tool. It's not a crutch. It can summarize a process, LinkedIn, track their email opens, spit out talking points. It can do a lot of things, but it can't read a room. It can't build rapport. It can't sense hesitation in a prospect's voice. Use AI to get there faster, but remember, it's your instincts that will close. That being said, lazy sales reps are toast. If your idea of selling is reading slides and sending templated emails, bad news. ChatGPT does it better, cheaper, and 24/7. The future belongs to the rep who brings strategy, emotional intelligence, and grit. You either evolve or you're out. Yeah. I like to say use AI to outsell everybody. Imagine walking into a call, knowing their pain points, their recent funding news, their competitive weaknesses, all in 5 minutes, and AI can deliver that to you. Exactly what AI can do. It doesn't replace you, it upgrades you. And if you're smart enough to use it, it can be a real weapon. So
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, absolutely agree with what you're saying as far as using it as a tool, but not a crutch. Like, it cannot, you can't let it replace what you're doing. You still have to have, and that emotional intelligence piece that you mentioned is so important because it doesn't, that's really the part that it's missing and is so important in sales and developing relationships. And it's just, you can get the information from AI and get contact information and automated things and meeting notes and insights, but developing relationships is not an AI, thing.
It does a lot of things, and it does some really scary things, like videos, for example. I mean, I have videos AI generated that look like me, sound like me, but aren't me. And so AI has some very powerful tools, but it's how you use the tool.
Right, exactly. And you're right in saying as well, you need to use them because everybody else is using them now too. So it's like it's just you've got to adapt and get to a point where you're using them as a tool and figuring out how they can best help you, but not relying on them to do the work.
Elena, I like to say AI is like the old cell phone. It started at the bag phone, and then it went to the flip phone and the BlackBerry, and now everybody's using smartphones. But if you think of the evolution of the phone, think of AI evolving 10 times faster than the evolution of the phone. And it's scary how fast it's moving. But the key is to start somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is something that salespeople should stop doing if they want to be more successful?
I think the key is stop selling like it's 1999. You know the type. Close early, close often, close hard, spewing features, talking about objections, acting like the louder they talk, the faster you'll get to a yes. That crap doesn't work anymore. Buyers are smarter. They've done their homework. And if you don't meet them where they are, you're toast. Quit pushing products. I used to sell some very sophisticated products, but I gotta say, you quit pushing products and start solving problems. A product is just a means to an end. What the buyer wants is a result, a solution, a fix to their pain. Stop pushing specs and start diagnosing problems. If you can articulate the issue better than they can, you win every single time. And time is a weapon, so stop wasting it. Spending hours chasing maybes is the death of 1,000 paper cuts. If they don't have budget, authority, or a real problem, move on. Your time is too valuable to waste on ghosts. Those are the things I think salespeople need to stop doing.
Yeah, and you're on the, chasing maybes. You're absolutely right too. Like making sure that the person that you're working with has that authority is something that, I think a lot of people skip that step, or they think that they might, or they think this person might be their champion, but it turns out that they're not, and they spend so much time focusing on that, and then it turns out like they never had the authority, or they never had the budget. So getting that information and understanding, who they are up front is very important.
Well, and Elaine, I tell my old team, don't be afraid to ask the damn questions. If you need to know, do you have the authority to make this deal? Guess what you should ask? Do you have the authority to make this deal? It's not offensive. It's just a question. So don't be afraid to ask the questions that need to be asked.
Right. Yeah, and I ask exactly like that is, do you have the authority? And if you don't, who does? Who do we need to bring into this conversation to get to the next step or to make it worthwhile?
Exactly. No, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So let's shift a little and talk about recruiting and sales talent. Do you have any, tips or tricks or strategies for like finding and, identifying top-notch great salespeople?
So I don't hire salespeople. I hire sales killers. I want to separate the lions from the lambs, and I want to do it fast. Give me hunger over a shiny resume every single time. I'll take the broke kid with fire in his belly over the 20-year veteran coasting on yesterday's win. Hunger, fire in the belly, it can't be taught. I want reps who treat every call like it's the one that feeds their families. Now here's the grit test. Here's what I ask in every interview. Tell me about a time when life punched you in the face. If they can't answer that, they haven't been tested. And if they haven't been tested, they'll crumble under pressure. I want fighters. I want people who know how to bleed and get back up. Sell me this pen. Oh my God, how many times has that been used? That's for amateurs. I don't care about a clever pitch. I don't care about the damn pen. I don't care what you do when a deal goes. I care what you do when the deal goes sideways. When the buyer ghosts you, your numbers are on the line. Can you pivot? Can you can you own your outcome? What separates salespeople? That's what separates salespeople from sales killers. I mean, I want people that when the deal is going south and the buyer has ghosted them, is not afraid to get in their car and go drive over there and get an answer. It sounds like basic fundamental sales, but I want somebody that's willing to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so many people aren't willing to do that. And I just had a conversation the other day too about something even like less time consuming, which is just pick up the phone. Like don't, just send an email and email and email. Like you've got to be able to be proactive, pick up the phone, send a text, like get engaged versus just relying on, emails and things like that too, where like nobody remembers an email. They remember having conversations.
Elena, I'm so old school like you. I don't. My teams have told me in the past, well, I sent an email, and it just drives me up the wall. And the other one that drives me crazy is I sent a text. Now, I understand texts and emails have a place in business. Trust me, I do. But they do not replace a phone call. They do not replace a in-person visit, whether it be face-to-face, Zoom, whatever, until you get out and actually see people. I mean, that's what you got to be willing to do. And I don't know. If I'm looking for when I'm hiring people, back to your question, I'm looking for battle tested people.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so important and understanding what they've been through. And again, it's not, I agree with you 1,000% on, having that person that has the hunger and has the drive and is not afraid to do the things versus somebody that has a fancy resume and that's all good and well, but do they have it? Do they have the hunger? Are they going to be that person that goes the extra mile? So totally agree.
Awesome.
Yeah. So John, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do and where people can find you.
All right, so let me change your question a little bit, and I'll say, who the hell am I, and why should you care? I'm Detroit born and bred, battle-tested chief revenue officer. I've been in sales and business development for over 30 years. I've built teams, scaled businesses, cleaned up messes, and turned them into machines. It started when I was 12 years old with a toolbox and a circular saw strapped to my bike, riding downtown to remodel storefronts at 12 years old, if you can imagine. Now I rebuild revenue engines with the same grit, grind, and no excuse mindset. I'm not afraid to tell you the baby's ugly. Um, I'm, a, I'm a no bullshit, all in growth guy. I don't believe in fluff. I believe in frameworks, systems, and accountability. You want rah-rah speeches and participation trophies? Go find a TED Talk. That's not me. You want results? Let's go. Let's get to work. Let's go. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me at I guess I'll give you my cell phone. It's 248-971-0036. More than happy to have a conversation. More than happy to talk to anybody about anything. Maybe we can solve your problems. It was a EOS guy that once told me, everybody needs help in sales. Everybody needs help in sales, and there's plenty of data out there to prove it. And what I do in a simple form, simple words are, I build a pathway to more sales. That's why you need to hire me.
Perfect. I love that, John. And you are I love your attitude. I love your, no BS. It's just amazing. And I think it's well, well worth it out there to have someone like you on their side. So, well, I
Hey,
appreciate you
Lena,
coming on. Yeah, keep
can
going.
I interrupt you for one more second?
Yeah, of
May
course.
22nd, my book will be published on Amazon called The Best Lessons Ever Learned. It is a part of an anthology book. On that day, the electronic version of the book will be available for 99 cents. And I would encourage all your listeners to please go out and check it out and buy a copy of the book. It's called Cracking the Success Code, The Best Lessons I've Ever Learned. Look for me in chapter 7. And it'll be a very, shall we say, spicy version of A Journey to Excellence.
Awesome. Send me the link to that too once you have it, and we will make sure that when we post this, we got the link in there also for everybody to see. So we can share it with all our followers. So appreciate it, John. Thank you so much for coming on, and we will chat soon. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.